Hello, I'm Dave Peach, and this is the Crawfordsville Peachcast, sponsored by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892. See them in person or at tricountybank.net. Tri-County Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Crawfordsville Peachcast. We are presented by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892. BK Home Improvement, Zahn's Flooring and Design Center, and CIR, Central Indiana Rubber, Power for You. Dave Meyer is here. 1, 2, 3. Hello.
Hello.
Todd. Dave. How are you?
I am fantastic. Dave, it is so nice to be back.
We are back now. We are unscripted. I read a lot of podcast things, and they go, hey, it's totally unscripted. We might talk about Red Lobster. We might talk about yo-yos. You never know what we're going to do. I go, wait a minute. I got a podcast like that.
We're OG unscripted.
Yeah.
We haven't even pondered the scripting idea. Wow, Dave, that people must really love their podcasting pursuits to write it all down before they send it to Zoom or say it out loud.
Now, we have a great movie, 1968, Untoasted, movie number 47, season 3. It's an Audible paper lion.
I'm excited for this Audible, Dave. It's like a perfect kind of, first of all, football season, right? It's heating up this time of the year, so we've got that going. And this is a step back throwback. Like, first of all, if you described it and say, okay, remember those MASH? You ever watch that? Okay, Hawkeye. Oh, you love that. Okay, picture Hawkeye playing football in the NFL. What? No way. Okay, and that's what we're gonna go with. We're gonna go with Hawkeye playing in the NFL.
I never looked up how many movies was Alan Alda in. I mean, MASH ran for like 13 years.
Right. No, he was actually not. He wasn't in a bunch. I remember he was in a movie called The Seduction of Joe Tynan. And I think I didn't understand whatever year in the 1970s that came out. I think I had to look up Seduction. But there was that. I remember he directed some movies like there was a movie about, maybe it had the word liberty in it.
Sweet Liberty. He talked to David Letterman about that.
Okay, so we've got that. And then, of course, I believe he acted in at least one or two Woody Allen movies. And didn't he play a very evil senator in the movie that Martin Scorsese made about Howard Hughes, I believe. So I think, Dave, Dave is fact checking in real time as we go through, but Alan Alda is the star of this Untoasted classic. And it does feel like it's in our wheelhouse of sorts, Dave.
Now, he was in a movie in 1963. This is according to Wikipedia. Have you heard of Wikipedia?
Okay. It is not always everything that's accurate, but
kind of a weird,
a good start.
A weird time frame here. 1963, he was in a movie called Gone Are the Days.
Gone Are the Days. Okay. Doesn't jump. Okay. He played a man on death row in California. I think Carol Chessman. I believe he called Kill Me If You Can. Dave, does that pop up? I believe I saw that as a part of a school project.
It was a TV movie, 1977.
We used to count those, Dave, didn't we? I mean,
well, they're on the TV side. They're not a major. Okay. So then 63, Gone Are the Days, and then 68, Paper Lion, and a few little morsels along the way. So he's establishing his career in 1968 playing George Plimpton.
I think he possibly had been on Broadway, but I don't think he had, he was enough of a name that he could headline this movie, but obviously this wasn't a big budget. When you say, okay, we're going to shoot this movie and we're going to put Lauren Hutton kind of in the early days of her supermodel career. We're going to list her as the second lead in this movie, when in fact, Dave, who is the actual co-stars of this movie?
Well, I mean, I would say Alex Karras is right up there. The third
Yes.
movie with Alex Karras, but this movie plays himself.
He plays himself, but I would say the Detroit Lions are really the co-stars of this entire movie, and the characters of real guys. Not only, as you said, Alex Karras, who went on to become a pretty good actor, but also Joe Schmidt, who had been a player, had become the coach, and Mike Lucci in a kind of a famous scene. His name is screamed, Dave.
Yeah, you'll have to fill me in because it's been a while since I've seen it. I saw it like a week ago, and I do have my notes here, but it is Paper Lion, 1968, and of course we thought we had this big thing with Detroit going to the Super Bowl and all this stuff, and now they lost over the weekend, so that never count on the Lions to go to the Super Bowl. I learned that.
No, all good intentions though. It looked like it might be, but no, Dave.
Well, after about 10 minutes of that game,
yeah.
I mean, anyway, they didn't make it. So we've got. We'll talk about it. It is that's what we do on a podcast. We talk about it.
We talk about it without a script, Dave.
Now, first, I know we got a movie to go to, but if I don't ask you right now, I'll forget it.
Okay.
And we'll get to Paper Lion. I promise. Dave,
I believe you.
Dave, do you have a Keurig at your home or office?
I do have a Keurig here in the home, and familiar with them. The nicer hotels occasionally will sport one, or the newer ones, I would say. And then you kind of see them in the random break room areas around.
Yeah. Now, hopefully you've got one where people can't get a coffee cup and put their water in there from where they, sip the coffee and then they put it in the thing and then run it out again. Hopefully that nobody ever does that.
No, my system is a little more preparation based. You fill a tank, you put the tank on the back, and then basically you pop in the thing and you're in business.
Yeah. Now, do you ever do hot chocolate?
That sounds like, especially at this, while we are currently recording, Dave, that sounds like an incredibly good idea, but no, I cannot say that I've done hot chocolate in the Keurig.
Do you know that they recommend when you do hot chocolate that you run another Keurig empty with just the water? They recommend that.
So they say you got to flush. Hot chocolate must gum up the pipes quicker than said coffee.
And do you think people do this?
Dave, no, I don't know. There's like some settings on my washing machine that have some words that I've never really, and I think it has to do with like your own maintenance. And this is what we're talking about here. No one's going to do that because how many times? Like every time?
Every time. You got to do it every time.
Dave. No one's abiding by that, guideline, okay?
You got to do it every single time. That's a public service announcement for you out there, you Keurig owners. When you do hot chocolate, you got to do what would you call it? A water-only run.
Yeah, I would say it's a penance factor against hot chocolate drinkers that the Keurig people, I guess their margins on the coffee people must be, good. So we don't want to bring any hot chocolate in here.
Be good to your Keurig, and we'll talk about Paper Lion coming up next on the Crawfordsville Peach Cast.
Bazing. Wow, that's fun to say. Bazing is Tri-County Bank's Smart Rewards checking account. With Bazing, you have cell phone protection, ID theft protection, roadside assistance, discounts at area businesses, and more. This is Bria French. Contact me or any of our great employees to begin your entry into Bazing banking. Terms and conditions may apply. Tri-County Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Crawfordsville Peach Cast. I got that Keurig thing off my chest.
Oh, that's good because that's one of those brands that I don't know when it became everywhere, but like it wasn't, and then it was Kleenex, So yeah, We can't let that go, Dave. We can't let that go.
We're going to go Paper Lion, 1968, Alan Alda, Lauren Hutton, Vince Lombardi, Alex Karras, Frank Gifford, David Doyle, the Charlie's Angel guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't, what was his name? Bailey?
Bosley.
Yeah, Bosley.
And he has that way of talking, Dave.
Dave. Lem Barney. You remember Lem Barney?
Lem Barney could sing, Dave. I did not know that.
Now, the Detroit Lions have never been to the Super Bowl. You know that.
Yes, that I was aware.
There's 4 teams that have never been to the Super Bowl. Can you name them?
Ooh. Wow.
There's 3 others besides Detroit. I'll give you a hint. One is kind of close. One is kind of close to Detroit.
Oh, okay. Well, Cleveland?
Yes, Cleveland has never been to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Now, the Ravens were the Browns, but Cleveland was able to keep the uniforms, keep the history. So we're going to say the Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Browns have never been to a Super Bowl.
Right.
Even though they eventually became the Baltimore Ravens and won a Super Bowl. So we'll say the city of Cleveland has never experienced the 2-week run-up to a Super Bowl.
Yes. Okay.
And there's 2 others that are pretty, I don't know, I would call them teams that don't really have a character.
Okay.
I'll give you 15 seconds.
For some reason, I'm going to guess the Chargers.
No, they lost to San Francisco. Bobby Ross was the coach there. I'll just tell you,
give it to me, Dave.
Jacksonville and Houston.
Okay, Houston makes sense. Jacksonville, I should have got to.
Yeah. 2025, it was all set. Actually, the 2024 season, 2025 playoffs, whatever you want to call it. Man, it was there for Detroit. And they are, they've been around a long time. They're
Bobby Lane.
Yeah, 1934 was the first year. They started in Portsmouth, Ohio in 1930, and now they've been in Detroit since 1934. So been there a good long time now. This movie, Paper Lion, there's a lot to unpack in this movie. If you don't know a lot about this movie, but it stars Alan Alda and Lauren Hutton. Now, the first thing we got to say, Dave, and hopefully we can get this out there, you have worked with Lauren Hutton.
This is correct, Dave. I spent several days working with Lauren Hutton here in Indianapolis on a project, an educational project about depression for Eli Lilly and Company. And it was quite an experience, I will say.
Now, when was this?
It was specifically the fall of 1996.
Because she looks very young in the picture.
Yes. She and we can make this picture available. However we do it in the Untoasted world, Dave.
Yeah.
No, she was. I think she was in her early 50s. She had kind of been pushed out. She had great stories, Dave. One of her great stories was she had kind of reached the top of what she could make being a Ford model, which was at the time the apex of modeling. And she said, well, I'm not going to sign another contract. And the reason, she said, I watched what these baseball players were doing. So in the mid-'70s, when she watched basically the people, go against the reserve clause, and then Andy Messerschmidt or these guys hold out and get these big contracts, that was her motivation for doing the same thing. So she actually broke kind of the I don't know what you would call it, but basically the agency paradigm, which kept models from ever basically negotiating their own contracts directly with the big sponsors. So she's somebody who had been like on the cover of Vogue 50 times, and yet she still wasn't really in control of how much she was making.
Man, she had a look. I mean, it's the hair, it's the look. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, kind of a, what's a lady, Princess Grace.
Yeah.
I mean, a regalness, but yet I don't know, it's hard to describe because she's not a Lonnie Anderson or
no.
We were talking about Victoria Principal. I mean, but yet I guess classy, for lack of a better word.
She had come from the South. She had traveled the world. She loved going to Africa. She was very, very comfortable basically in all kinds of environments, and she loved to kind of challenge herself. One of the things I noticed, which was, it's like she was challenging to work with at times, but her challenges were all based on, she wanted to believe and make sure everything was done the way she had agreed upon it to be. So she was very ethical in how she approached things. And anyway, there was one point during our session when she was basically recording scenes for this video, this informational video. We had time, and we had a still photographer that we were using then, a guy from San Antonio we brought up just to take pictures with her. And we all watched just that happen. And it was like, oh, like you watched her just stand there in front of a camera. And I remember at the time thinking, this is like watching Jordan play basketball and think that looks easy, because she was just giving him just very subtle, little things that were all gold to him, because she had been in front of, the world's best photographers for, 30 years. So seeing that was amazing. And just, she was a formidable presence, and she enjoyed her time in Indiana and Indianapolis, and she was, fun to work with.
All right, Lauren Hutton, along with Alan Alda. Now let's get to the movie Paper Lion. First thing out, the music. Sounded like, I thought it was Vince Guaraldi at one point, but it's just some sort of freeform jazz exploration.
Yeah, it kind of felt like today, if you were going to put this in some category, this would be like some Hulu 4-part series. Okay, because it felt like a TV open, like almost a part of like the Bob Newhart show times some, I don't know what, but it was this jazzy, breezy, New York City kind of cool thing.
I thought it had kind of an Odd Couple, ABC 60s,
yes,
early 70s feel.
Yeah, no, and I think kind of the color palette that they used and kind of the way they shot it.
Brian's
the way
song.
It was, it was Brian's song, and then, NFL Films was a part of, the production here. So you could kind of see that too. So it had a, whatever, I mean, I think you and I both like it, but it fit the film, and it seemed to fit the time, for it.
Without further ado, the film is based on George Plimpton's book, Paper Lion. Alan Alda playing George Plimpton. And George, as we found out many times, fought Sugar Ray Robinson and pitched against the National and American League All-Stars. And he's just a guy that went to Harvard.
Yeah, who is, a writer for Sports Illustrated. And, I guess you see kind of in this how, first of all, at that time you realize, oh gosh, Sports Illustrated is the top, right? As far as, if you're going to be a writer and you're going to be probably paid well and taken seriously and envied by your peers, you're writing for Sports Illustrated. So not only that, you have enough power that you can ask NFL teams to let you try out under your own conditions, right? He has these conditions, which is basically like, no, don't give me any special, just let me do it. Don't give me any special, behavior. And best case scenario is the other players don't know, which I thought, well, that's not going to fly. Hawkeye doesn't look like the other players. So, wow,
but he played
what a
semi-pro
scenario.
in Canada.
Exactly. What a great backstory.
That's my cover.
My cover is, I've been playing semi-pro for Canada for years. That's why I'm older. And I want to say, okay, but okay.
Now, I got a question.
Sure.
When people in New York City in the late 60s played touch football,
right,
did they all wear sweaters and nice clothes and shoes, and they just out in they called plays and played? I mean, I would think maybe a sweat suit or something, or maybe some PE type clothes, but they were fully coiffed.
I think this was like, you had to look like a Kennedy if you're going to play touch football, Dave.
I got it.
So it was that era. So, and also Roy Scheider has to be in the touch football scene, credited or not, Dave.
Was he there?
He was. Roy Scheider is a Central Park flag football player, uncredited in the movie. But that's him in the open.
So George Plimpton is on his way to the Detroit Lions training camp.
Yes.
And he writes for Sports Illustrated. He's going to say he played semi-pro ball in Canada or something like that. And along the way, I guess kind of backing it up a little bit in trying to find his team, he does a scene with a man called Vince Lombardi.
Well, okay, first of all, when I see that Vince is in this movie, because I'd seen it, but I didn't remember, I'm like, I think Vince is in some B-roll. That's what I was thinking. And then all of a sudden, Dave, there's Vince and Alan Alda having a conversation together, at each other, with each other. I'm like, what are the odds, Dave?
I gotta go to my man Rich Eisen. Now we need to be on the Rich Eisen podcast network. I'll just throw that out there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got like 3 other people. I thought maybe he had like 58 shows. He's only got like 4 other shows besides his own on the.
How do we get the groundswell?
That's right.
Yeah.
We got to get there. Okay.
Who are our important listeners, Dave?
So Rich Eisen is talking to Alan Alda.
Okay.
Direct hit for us. And Rich is talking about the scene with Vince Lombardi. He goes, you were in a scene. Vince Lombardi was in the movie, and Alan Alda said he was only in one scene. I'm like, that's like
what
saying,
was he supposed to do?
I mean, that's like saying, I knew George Washington, but I only went over the Delaware with him. It's like, I mean, yeah, what a big deal. I mean, come on.
Well, come
one
on, Al.
scene with Vince Lombardi. You realize how many people have actually been filmed with Vince Lombardi, arguably the most famous person in American history other than George Washington. I mean, they got a trophy. There's 110 million people watching a game for a Lombardi trophy. And Alan Alda, it was just one scene.
Yeah, he's in one scene. No, Dave. I mean, if I recall, I'm seeing promotion work in 2025 that Vince is doing the voice work on.
Oh, how about Vince's suit?
Oh, a classic.
I mean, that was that was tailored to a T.
David, didn't Ernie Borgnine play Vince in some TV movie? Because they had the same kind of dentist and facial, bone structure.
Oh my goodness. So I don't know. And then there's the scene with Frank Gifford.
Right, and Frank was young, and Frank was talkative. Like he was given all the what for. It was. I forgot how much Frank was a broadcaster at that time, a broadcaster in training or about ready to, be a full-time broadcaster. But he was definitely a slick, polished guy.
I think he played at USC, and then he's played for the Giants and, coast to coast. Yeah. But it was so cool to watch them in there. And then George arrives in Detroit. There's some rookie hazing, and we get to see Alex Karras. He was in FM. He was in When Time Ran Out, and he's in Paper Lion.
Wow.
He was in Blazing Saddles, of course. But our third untoasted bite of the Alex Karras acting apple.
Dave, I guess it just goes to show you, Alex did a lot more acting than maybe the world get. If we can cut this many slices and get Alex 4 times, three times. Well, his cultural impact is great. So yes, Alex is kind of a cool character in this movie. He actually in 1963 was suspended for some gambling stuff. So it's one of the I guess the leisures that is taken with the script. The coach of the Lions at this time, Joe Schmidt, was an active player in 1963. But there's a lot that I believe is similar, but in the book, as opposed to the movie, I just want to say this before we get into it. The book, which is what happened, he only played in an inter squad scrimmage. Okay. And he played in basically 4 downs, and in reality, he lost yardage on five straight plays. So that was the impetus for what happened as far as the movie, I guess.
So he was never on the field in a preseason game for the Detroit Lions?
Not in actuality. He was in an inter squad scrimmage. So, yes, NFL players, yes, live action, no,
but not playing
game.
the St. Louis Cardinals.
No, he
Now,
was
later
not
on,
that.
Plimpton did play, I think, for Baltimore.
I think he did.
Yeah.
And Dave, Marvin Gaye tried out for the Detroit Lions. That's a whole other show.
Wow.
But we might have to go there at some point.
Wow, you busted my bubble there on the Detroit Lions paper lion thing. Karras talks a little bit about cross-dressing. That scene.
He does.
How did that scene impact you?
It reminded me of things that were considered more humorous in our adolescence.
Kind of a throwback.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. I kind of felt like I was getting footage of a fraternity.
Exactly. And part of me, Dave, was like, was this really funny back then, or were we just in some kind of weird state of, oh, if you show me that, no matter what, I'll laugh? I didn't, because I was like, oh my gosh, these poor guys. And then having to sing their college fight song.
We would see that in Brian's song.
Yes.
That tearjerk movie.
Yeah.
Which
that
had some poetic license of its own, but we've talked about that before.
For sure.
Really, he makes his way around the training camp. Alex finds out about it. Somebody tells him. But I think overall, he has a good experience trying out for the team.
Yeah, I think the main thing that was real in his actual experience and what is portrayed in the movie is that he basically took his lumps. He did not complain. He did not, and as a result, he earned the respect of the Detroit Lions. So those guys liked him. It was a stunt. I mean, they clearly didn't want their profession to be, made fun of, right? But I think they respected the fact that he, just like he tried to stay in the ring with Sugar Ray, I mean, he did take his hits and get up and went back to the huddle. So those things stayed true. But I mean, the movie's kind of about what's going to happen. Is he going to get in the game, right? And I think there was, the NFL Films aspect of a real preseason game, with the Cardinals and seeing two different, the movie created drama, for the scenario, basically. And it was cool. I mean, what you also got out of it were these players were characters, and they were characters in the movie, and that, it made his entire kind of Walter Mitty adventure that much more grounded. You believed it.
When preseason mattered.
When preseason mattered. Oh,
I have watched 1980s NFL games, of course. Yeah. Who hasn't, right? On YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And Frank Lieber will say, hey, they were 4-2 in the preseason.
And
yes, folks, they played 6 preseason games. They were 4-2. And sometimes they played to win these games, which seems unimaginable today. Yeah. Thank you, Jim Nance. Unimaginable.
It would.
Unfathomable.
All
Unfathomable.
Those things, all those things.
And they bang on the piano, and they roll that classic NFL footage, and it works. It works.
It does. I got it. It makes the whole thing, and it also kind of like well, first of all, like these guys were a lot of them were actual current players when this movie was done. And you saw that the NFL of 1968 was not the weight rooms had not yet become a mandatory part.
Here's your food.
Yeah, it was a lot more about carbohydrates. Nobody was cut, Dave. I mean, Alex Karras kind of, and Alex Karras was a great football player, but he did not cut a formidable, not an Arnold Schwarzenegger type bod. More of a aging doughboy.
I don't think they had a sports psychologist.
No sports
staff.
No, not a bit. But it's an entertaining movie, and if you're looking for a different path, you don't want to watch something that's been made in the last 20 years that, was either, it's either draft day or it's any given Sunday are the extremes of NFL cooperation. Pick this thing up. It was back when the NFL films they were all fully shot on film, right? And of an era that was real, but also shows you how much history it really appears to be today.
Okay, we have the mixed bag portion of our show. Alda, Alex Karras, Rich Eisen. We have a story there coming up next on the Crawfordsville Peachcast. Central Indiana Rubber Products provides the power for you. Central Indiana Rubber Products, or CIR, keeps farm equipment and local manufacturing processes running with gaskets, belts, seals, and O-rings, among a variety of other products and services. Employee-owned and always customer-focused. Central Indiana Rubber Products, 989 West, 83 North, Crawfordsville, and at indianarubber.com. Central Indiana Rubber Products, or CIR, power for you. Dave Peach here with Brandon Kappas from BK Home Improvement. And Brandon, you have an exciting announcement.
Yes, Dave, thank you. We are excited to announce Zahn's Floor Covering is now Zahn's Flooring and Design Center, acquired by BK Home Improvement.
I understand Bob Zahn will be staying to help.
We are excited to have that, and absolutely, Zahn's Flooring and Design Center is happy to have Bob Zahn still involved in that same local presence they're used to dealing with.
There has been a little confusion. BK Home Improvement is not affiliated with BK Painting or BK Property Management. You are located at your headquarters in Lebanon, Indiana.
Yes, we are excited to expand both brand names inside of both markets for Lebanon and Crawfordsville. Please come visit our showroom at 310 North Green Street, as we will consistently be redesigning and offering new, innovative products and technologies.
And you are still going to say,
Zahn's Flooring and Design Center. We are everywhere you walk.
Crawfordsville Peachcast, Segment 3, Mixed Bag. We talked about Paper Lion, the 1968 movie with Alan Alda, Lauren Hutton, Alex Karras, Lombardi, the guy named David Doyle. Yeah.
David Doyle with Bosley.
Frank Gifford. Anyway, we go to Alex Karras being talked about on the Rich Eisen show with Alan Alda, because we're trying to get on the Rich Eisen podcast network. So,
sucking up. We're being blatant.
Yeah.
We're trying to be respectfully blatant.
I am, and so Rich was referencing Alex Karras being in Blazing Saddles.
As he should.
He said Mongo. He said Mongo. He talked about, and Alan Alda looked at Rich Eisen with a straight face. So that was his character in the movie?
That
was
Ow.
Yeah, it's
Jeez.
Mongo, okay?
Dave,
it was
who
his
has
character.
not
Yeah, he had a lot of
seen
buffers.
Blazing
He had a
Saddles?
lot of buffers. You say he had a lot of buffers. He had a lot, Willie Chichi and Godfather 2. You remember that?
I do.
But yeah, I'm sure Eisen would say, yeah, that was his character. Yeah, it was kind of. I love that stately, where they give the person a little bit more credit than perhaps we would.
Yeah, no, definitely trying, and Rich Eisen does a good job. He's
got a great voice.
Great voice.
Oh my goodness.
So definitely watched as much television as we did in his formative years.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, he'll talk to Matthew Modine about the movie we did. I can't think of what it is. It had the song Gambler. What was that?
I want to say
the wrestling movie.
Yeah, the wrestling movie.
What was the wrestling movie? Come on.
Crazy for You is the song I'm thinking about from Madonna, but that's not it.
What is it? I can't.
Vision Quest.
Thank you. And I watched Dennis Leary on Good Morning Football, which is now on like multiple channels, along with Up and Adams with Kay Adams.
Okay.
Dennis Leary was on Good Morning Football, and they asked him about draft day.
Of course, he was the coach. What did he say about it?
He said that he had a prop, a Super Bowl ring as a prop, and they told him that he couldn't take it home, and he took it home. He said, "I'm taking it home. I'm taking it home."
Well, Dave, it was a good effort there by Dennis, and clearly he's throwing the gauntlet down if the NFL security wants to come.
We have more random thoughts, not related to football, but related, and we've talked about this. We might have talked about this. I say that all the time. We've talked about this. Maybe we haven't. I don't know. Random thoughts. Chuck Wepner versus Sly Stallone.
Wasn't Chuck was the inspiration
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Was Chuck the Bayonne Bleeder? Was that his moniker? Yeah.
So let me get this straight, Dave.
Okay, Dave.
Let me get this straight. And
Please.
they ended up settling out of court because the movie Rocky was based on Chuck Wepner. Okay?
Yes, that was the inspiration.
Yeah, the inspiration.
Yes.
Okay.
That he created the character based on.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Chuck Wepner never did a diddly thing to capitalize on his fight against Muhammad Ali. Would that be correct to say?
Nothing that I saw other than have his bloody face be in a picture.
Now, hopefully, he won't sue us,
right,
for mentioning his name. I mean, I guess I should be a little wrong. I should be a little afraid.
We're respectfully talking about.
I'm sorry, Chuck. Please don't sue us.
Okay, hang on. I will say this. I believe Liev Schreiber might have played him in a movie a few years ago.
Okay.
I will have to look that up.
Stallone took the chance on the story.
Yes, he did.
There was no guarantee it would be a hit.
Correct.
He worked out to look like that in 4 movies. That couldn't have been easy.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's that guy is not eating 2-ounce bags of Doritos from the break room here at the radio station.
No, can't do it.
And he settled with Wepner. Now, David, you're a writer. We're creators, whatever. Everything is based on something.
Yeah. Yes, always, Dave.
I mean, maybe this has been discussed at length before, but I mean, a songwriter sees somebody on the street, and they write a song about it. Does that person have the right to come after them for money just because they saw them selling a hot dog on the street corner and they looked a certain way and it inspired a song that made a lot of money?
I don't think so, Dave.
Okay, well, why did Wepner? I mean, did Stallone just want to? I'm going to pay him. I'm going to pay him.
Here's what I'm guessing, Dave. Here's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing that somewhere. Now, this is a guess, but I'm guessing that somewhere Stallone might have said publicly that Rocky was this. And in which case, then when Rocky made money and won awards, then Chuck's people, who probably are not, they've not a lot of paydays. They probably hired the best representation they could, and whatever happened. But I'm guessing you don't have the rights to just. I mean, it's not like like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young write a song that talks about Joni Mitchell. She can't come grab some of the publishing rights just because they name drop her.
You kind of have to watch what you say.
You probably do. It depends on what it is said. Now,
or not make a boatload of money.
Yeah,
like you did with Rocky.
Yes, Chuck Wepner. There was a film, 2016, released in the United States called Chuck, but released in the UK and Ireland as, you ready for this one, Dave?
Mm-hmm.
The Bleeder. Okay. I don't think it did well, but Dave, I want to say, decent cast. Naomi Watts, Elizabeth Moss, Michael Rappaport, Ron Perlman. But here's my favorite of the rest of the cast, Dave. Mm-hmm. Morgan Spector as Sylvester Stallone, the actor-screenwriter who wrote Rocky right after the 75 fight. Now, I'm reading from Wikipedia. But there's a guy named John Storr who was Wepner's best friend, played by Jim Gaffigan. I feel like if Rich Eisen, for some reason, doesn't want us in his podcast line, and Rich, we are demographic uno for you, my friend. But if Rich, you don't want us, where are the Gaffigan people, Dave? I feel like we should go there.
So Chuck Wepner did. There was something that Chuck Wepner did, but it occurred in 2016.
Yeah, a long time after. I don't know if Chuck is still eating solid food at this point in his career, Dave.
We will see how that works out. Now, let's see. We've got one more thing here.
Okay.
Seinfeld had the cereal and milk ratio, at least in one episode.
Yeah, he is notably in real life and on the show a big fan of cereal.
Now, do you ever eat potato chips and dip?
Oh yeah.
Do you ever have trouble like portioning out the dip and the chips, and then you need more dip, and then you need more chips, and they don't get, you got maybe a little trouble getting the right amount of dip on each individual chip?
It's impossible, Dave, and especially I live alone, Dave, so these situations are usually a bag and a container, and then it's really about willpower. Can he stop? Will
Now,
he pull up before halftime?
there's a couple of things that can go horribly wrong
Yes.
when you're eating the chips in the kitchen on your own and you're trying to like put the chip in the container, like you're just
Yeah.
eating it right out of the container. A chip could fall in there.
Chip. Oh, you're gonna have some. You're gonna have some fragments of sorts.
Or
yes,
the
Yeah.
dip could fall on the floor.
that can
And now
happen.
you've got a mess.
Well, especially sometimes you don't realize kind of the viscosity of the dip, so you go at it with what you think is a solid chip. Chip breaks, but there's enough inertia that you've tossed the container mid-floor.
Particularly if that dip has been around for a couple of days and it
Okay.
softens up a little bit. Right out of the carton you'd be
Dave,
okay.
Did this happen
Now,
recently?
Well, I have
Okay.
come up with they call it a life hack.
Okay, I like this.
They call it a life hack.
Okay,
And
these are
what,
good.
what you do is you get a spoon and a bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You put the chips, kind of going back to the Seinfeld thing, you put the chips in a bowl.
Right. Okay, good start.
And then you put the dip in the bowl
With chips.
with the chips.
So
and
basically, it's on you.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
eating, you're putting the spoon in, you're eating the chips and the dip at the same time with a spoon.
I think it's a much more manageable way to go about it. I like it, Dave.
If you're just trying to stick food in your mouth when nobody's watching in the kitchen,
Right. Yeah.
it's a perfect way to go.
It's much better cleanup.
You rinse out the bowl, nobody even
Yeah.
knows.
So solid. Dave, you're making me hungry for dip.
Yeah, well, put
I
those
have some
chips in a
chip
bowl.
products, but
put
I
those
need
chips in a bowl and some dip with a spoon, and you're on
Oh,
your
boy.
way.
Okay.
That's just another little tidbit from yours truly. But again,
I love it, Dave. That's
yeah.
a good one. Good life hack.
Draft day. Paper Lion, 1968. Man, think about 1968. A lot going on in 1968.
There was, Dave.
And
there was.
this was just a little bit of a kind of a fun little puffy piece to tide you over in 1968.
There's some internet trivia, Dave. If you really want to dive into it, there's a scene where a linesman says a term that would not have been allowed, at least to play in the TV version.
Okay.
And they think it was one of the earlier 1960s, basically one of the earliest misbroadcast of this word. So that happened. But I wanted to give you.
And it did make it on TV?
It did make it on.
Because they didn't know what it meant.
No, and
Okay.
a lot had to do with, I think it was, they buried it kind of within all the realm of game audio.
Mm-hmm.
So you hear a lot of grunting and a lot of pads hitting, and so it's kind of buried in there, and that's how I think they got away with it. I think the people worked on it were very well aware, Dave. But here is in one of the I would say the outlier there. I looked up that somebody just like this is their favorite movie of all time, and this was written a few years ago, so it's a little dated, but not too dated. And it says, Paper Lion is a swinging 60s look at the NFL, both in tone and aesthetic. As we lose more and more of those who played in the NFL before the merger with the AFL, Paper Lion, the movie and the book, give us insight into a game that was about to enter a period of exponential growth, much of which came at the expense of those who played it. And while Paper Lion, the film, is in many ways dated, as the Munsing wear half the team wears off the field, it's not just watchable, but enjoyable as more than a historical document. Any movie that has both Vince Lombardi and Alda has some value in this world. And for all that, Paper Lion is that movie. So, Dave, you picked it out. That intersection that no one thought happened, Dave, or even if you thought it could happen, where? Show me that. Well, folks, today we can do that.
It is, but he only did one scene with Vince Lombardi.
And of course, Alan
scene.
dismissed it.
Yeah,
There was just one scene.
There's only one scene.
He had lines out.
You know.
There were cutaways. I saw.
We did one scene with Lombardi. I'm like,
oh, Dave.
oh,
So
poor guy.
good.
Next up, David, it is Sunset with Bruce Willis playing Tom Nix, and who else is in it?
Our old buddy Jim Rockford, Dave. James Garner, latter part of his career, he plays the outlaw and lawman Wyatt Earp.
1988, that's your favorite year.
It's a great year, Dave. It is a good year.
Hey, we are, again, the Crawfordsville Pete's Cast, soon to be on the Rich Eisen Podcast Network, right?
Do-do-do.
Let's
We need
think
our
about
own
Let's
little,
think it into
yeah.
existence. Maybe.
Okay.
We have sponsors, Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892. Also, Zahn's Flooring and Design Center, BK Home Improvement, and Central Indiana Rubber, CIR, Power for You. 1, 2, 3. David.
Hello,
Todd.
Thanks for listening to the Crawfordsville Peach Cast, sponsored by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892. Tri-County Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender. I'm Dave Peach. Join us every Thursday for a new episode on Apple or Spotify. Please like, subscribe, and download the Crawfordsville Peach Cast. This podcast was produced and edited by Up There Media and is a presentation of Fork Broadcasting Digital.